Welcome back, guys. It's your boy Eli and Joy. We are the Geek Centurions. We're here for another great episode. We're basically gonna be talking about some of the Disney Plus TV shows for Marvel because that's really the only thing we can think about at this time. Halloween's over. Our little spectacular whatever was a thing.
Yeah. There's a lot of big news for Marvel's TV shows on Disney Plus.
There's been some casting. There's been talks of who could be the new Moon Knight. There's also basically apparently the person they got for we thought they had for She-Hulk isn't actually She-Hulk. So
interesting.
Yeah, so she says like, yeah, it's not true. So basically, we're talking about that, and we're also gonna be talking about, just how Marvel TV has changed, how it went from being not really connected to being okay shows to like, oh wow, this is a great show, to like, oh, you know what, quality just keeps going down and down and down. Maybe like one or two shows saves us a day, but doesn't really get us there.
Yeah.
But no, let's talk about let's first talk about the casting, and then we'll move on to actual, the workings of Marvel TV. Live action wise, we're not going into cartoons. I can go on how the cartoons just went downhill for me, but that's
yeah. If there's one thing, Marvel's the quality of Marvel entertainment has went down is the TV show is the animated shows.
They're so bad.
It's not great.
No.
By gone are the days of Avengers: Earth's Mightiest Heroes and
Spectacular Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Oh my shit, man. And stuff. And Steve Bloom as the Green Goblin. That was a great casting choice. And left us at a goddamn cliffhanger.
Yeah, it's no bueno.
No bueno. But let's start off with the recent castings. So Oscar Isaac is rumors or has been basically confirmed to be in talks with Marvel to play Moon Knight, and there's been other like rumors of who they're probably getting to play Moon Knight. Someone was Shyla, someone was Keanu Reeves. I think there was someone else somewhere in there, but those are the two that I can remember on the top of my head. But I don't know. Personally, if they do get Isaac, I'd be down for that.
Yeah, it would be a very interesting casting choice. I mean, when I was hearing the rumors of say Shia LaBeouf, I was like, that's super weird, and maybe like a bit too meta because Shia LaBeouf himself has been having a bit of a weird moments, at least in the entertainment sphere. His whole I'm not famous anymore with the back thing, stuff like that.
He's crazy enough for Moon Knight.
Yeah, that's why I kind of meant it's a bit meta because like a lot of people kind of see Shia LaBeouf as a bit crazy nowadays. So having a crazy guy play a very crazy character would be interesting.
Yeah. So basically, the thing about Moon Knight is that he's kind of like, he's not the one-to-one, but he's basically one of those like Batman-like characters that we see. That's not Batman. He has multiple personality disorder. We don't know if he actually has mystic moon powers because it has to do with the god Khonshu, which is an Egyptian god of the moon, or something like that. I don't remember well.
Yeah. If I remember correctly, the gist of Moon Knight is that he's a character that you don't really know if he has, say, these superpowers or if it's due to his, mental, unhinged mental capacity and stuff like that. Like, he thinks he's this super powerful hero.
Yeah, he has multiple personalities. Some of them are basically kind of like Bruce Wayne. Some of it's kind of like Indiana Jones. Some of it's like other stuff. But,
right.
It's a cool idea.
Yeah.
But, I would love to see Oscar take that along. Especially since like he's just coming off the heels of another different franchise.
Right. Yeah. I mean, he was Apocalypse in X-Men Apocalypse.
Yeah, and we don't talk about that.
Yeah, and he was in the Star Wars sequel movies, but didn't have like a huge role in them.
which was very disappointing.
Yeah, like he's a pretty solid actor.
Mm-hmm.
So I think if he was to get cast for Moon Knight, I think this could be like his one big like.
Not to say he hasn't had that.
No. I mean, obviously, like
Ex Machina is like really well known for.
Yeah. Like he's obviously already like a well known actor and being put on the map. So I can definitely see this one just sort of elevating him a bit more, right? Like
it's considering the context of the character, it makes sense that this would like really put his chops in. It's kind of like what's his name, in the movie Split. James McAvoy, James McAvoy. Yeah, like that was a role for him, whether you like the movie or not.
Yeah, I mean, I think that for him was a very standout performance from him. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Now, obviously, there's always the question is, do you really think he could be part of another? Not another franchise is what I'm saying.
I mean, I think I don't think he would be against something like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like he I don't know, he might have. I don't know. I don't exactly know how his feelings for how X-Men Apocalypse was received. Because I think a lot of people were like, it's okay or whatever. It's not like the best, but it's whatever. So I don't know how he feels about how people saw his portrayal of Apocalypse. I know he's. I don't think bitter is the right word, but he's definitely more like
he is not happy.
Yeah, he's like like Star Wars was not like what I was expecting or whatever, right?
You can say that for a lot of the new people in that franchise.
Yeah, I mean, even like Daisy Ridley, like she hasn't, like Star Wars is like the only thing she got, and like I feel like she hasn't been.
She's been in small stuff.
Yeah, it's a bit like the Mark Hamill effect. I feel right.
The Mark Hamill,
where like he's Luke Skywalker, and then while Harrison Ford and Carrie Fisher go on to do like other stuff and things.
More Harrison Ford than Carrie Fisher. Though.
Yeah, more Harrison Ford. Carrie Fisher goes into a bit more of like I think a writing and comedian kind of thing. Is the whole thing.
They found their voice.
Yeah, like Mark Hamill just went to being like the voice actor guy. Granted, he's a great voice actor, best Joker.
Yeah. One of the best Jokers I've seen.
Yeah,
great villain voice.
Yeah, so he's just great, solid. But yeah, I don't know. I mean. Out of all I think the main three actors for the Star Wars film.
Daisy really she got into a new movie. I just can't remember the name of it.
I feel like she has too. I feel like at one point, I think she might have been up for being Lara Croft in that new Tomb Raider movie that came out like a couple years ago. Which I was like, I mean, she's already climbing shit and has like the basic aesthetic of a.
She was in Ophelia, and this is the last one I saw her in, aside from Star Wars, Murder on the Orient Express.
Right.
And she was pretty good in that one. I liked her in that.
Okay, yeah.
Apparently she was in that One Bunny movie, kind of thing.
Was it
Peter Rabbit?
Okay.
Yeah, that was.
I was going to say something else. Right. But to bring it back, I think Oscar Isaac, I think he probably might feel a bit stung from Star Wars. I don't know. I feel like most people who work at Marvel, or at least join up with Marvel, especially considering that the Disney Plus shows are handled under Kevin Feige, most people who have worked with Marvel genuinely enjoy it. So I feel like Oscar Isaac would probably be like, if everybody else here enjoys it and there hasn't been anything bad per se happen to a lot of the actors, then I feel like he would definitely be.
And there's a level of pedigree that comes with being in like a Marvel project, specifically Marvel Cinematic Universe project,
right?
Because there's some that are like technically Marvel, but they're not part of that,
Yeah.
But now they kind of have everything, so we'll see. But because like usually when people go in there, they never come out hating it. They really enjoy being part of that world. You know, Robert Downey Jr., Tony Stark, Iron Man. He's kind of like become that character, and sort of when you think he's no longer going to be in it, he's like, yeah, I don't know, I'll be down for a couple of stuff, show up here and there, and he always comes back. He's always being very, you know, it's like they're literally like a tight knit thing right there.
Yeah,
and you see that, you know, you see it with the friendship between, you know, Anthony Mackie, guy who plays Winter Soldier, Sebastian Stan, and also Tom Holland. They have a little joke where they both hate him.
Yeah,
they both hate Tom Holland.
Yeah, I remember seeing that stuff in like press interviews and stuff like that, where just feel like, man, that's Tom Holland guy. He's just a, you know,
he's just an asshole.
Yeah, and then of course,
he's actually really sweet though.
Yeah, no, then you got like stuff with Benedict Cumberbatch and Tom Holland. You know, you see that sort of friendship. So yeah, I feel like Oscar Isaac,
he'll have a better time with it.
Right. Yeah, I feel like you know,
if he gets the role, we keep talking about that he has the role. I don't think it's been confirmed that he's in talks.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's all speculation, right?
Mm-hmm. But I could see it working for him, especially since he's going to be playing a character who is more out there. He's not a very, Moon Knight is not a very, you know, conservative hero. I don't mean political, but you know, he's not your usual superhero. He has mental issues, and oftentimes, even in the books, from what I've been able to read, because even for me, Moon Knight is still kind of not that he's not interesting, but he's still like one of those characters. Like I can't really get into him that
like a niche.
He's very niche,
right?
And he can get violent. I'm talking bloody. Like he's like a couple steps below being Punisher level. And I guess that's kind of the question: is how are we going to portray Moon Knight?
I don't know. I think there's still stuff a lot in the air, right? Like Moon Knight, I think is only in pre-production at this point, right? Yeah. So I don't know. Considering it's also going to be a Disney Plus show, and I'm not like, I don't think we've seen any sort of like mature, like at least bloody sort of content in any Disney.
We got implicit violence. Mandalorian.
Yeah, Mandalorian definitely sort of plays the line where there's definitely, you know, violence.
First episode, you basically had a man, you know, get cut in half, but you don't see it, but you know he got cut in half.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, honestly, the thing is, like, Star Wars is never like typically that violent to begin with, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, because it's like laser blast, you don't see like gushes of blood or whatever.
The wounds are always cauterized, except in the first movie.
I mean, yeah, it's a lightsaber. It cuts, but then, you know, there's not really much blood because, you know, it's like it's literal plasma or whatever.
Yeah, cauterizes the wound.
Yeah. So, yeah, like, so that's I can kind of, and you know, that's kind of like how at least I think Mandalorian did well with handling that sort of level of violence. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's gonna be super interesting if they were to make Moon Knight as bloody as he can get in the comics, right?
Yeah, like this dude is toting guns, like almost Punisher level. Like there's a specific image that I think I'm out of mind. We'll probably use it for the thumbnail, maybe. But you know, it's one of those characters that I can kind of see them pulling off. But you know, depends on how much we're pulling away, because like the whole mental, you know, personality and stuff. How do you portray that for something that is for Disney?
Yeah, it's gonna be really interesting, right?
Like I don't see them doing Punisher anytime soon.
Yeah, like I don't. You don't expect like a Punisher style show like that was on Netflix to show up.
They could probably put it on Hulu, but you know, I haven't heard much from that Hailstorm show.
Interesting.
Yeah,
but yeah, no. I don't know. It's gonna be a lot of work for them, right? To like just figure out how the hell they're gonna just try to adapt Moon Knight in such a way for you know, being a Disney Plus show.
I think it's one of those things we're gonna have to wait and see, obviously. But you know, we're also gonna have to wait and see how they do Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah, and Deadpool, obviously. Yeah.
Because I think he's the testing ground. if you can do it right with Deadpool, then you can probably do it with Moon Knight.
Well, I feel like I recall when the Fox acquisition happened and there was the questions of like Deadpool, what's that gonna be like? I think Bob Iger, who was president of Disney, who I think has come back now because there's circumstances. He was like, "Yeah, no, we're keeping Deadpool pretty the same. We're not gonna worry about that." I think they mentioned they were trying to try to label it under a different brand of Marvel, kind of
like Marvel Knights level thing, but no.
Yeah, but it's gonna be I don't know if it'll go that far with Moon Knight, but that's certainly a thing that could happen.
It's one of those things where how are you gonna pull it off when it's supposed to be a connected universe?
Yeah.
Now, speaking of that, before we head on to talk about the rest of Marvel, Disney Plus TV, let's go down the line. Now, we're not going to go all the way back. We're not going to talk about the Incredible Hulk TV show with Lou Ferrigno and Billy. What's his name? Billy. No, let's say Bill Paxton. That's not the right name. Bill Bixby.
I think so.
I apologize.
Show's so old.
Oh, why didn't they put that on Disney Plus?
There's probably some weird rights thing going on with that, right? It's the same thing with like asking about
it is Bill Bixby.
Yeah, with the Japanese Spider-Man because that's owned by Toei and stuff. So that's gonna be like that's just a weird.
You're also gonna talk about the movies for the Hulk. I think that's still owned by Paramount.
Right, yeah, as well. So, there's probably just some weird hold rights thing they would have to work out with if they wanted, like, the original show.
Now, I'm going to say, like I said, we're not going to go that back. We're not going to go that back to, like, that TV show. We're not going to go back to the Spider-Man TV show. We're not even going to talk about, sadly, even though Joey would love to, the Japanese Spider-Man.
I mean, it's very funny, but yeah, I definitely understand that. Considering if we're gonna be talking about Marvel TV, it's probably it's gonna be mostly in sort of the more near of modern time.
It's probably the one that most people would know, especially the people that haven't seen any of the old stuff.
Right.
I mean, I've seen the old Incredible Hulk TV show.
I ain't even got for the time,
The guy, Luke Ferrigno. Always be a good Hulk. But anyways, obviously we got to talk about the first TV show that ever come out. Actually, you know what? Let's talk about the reason why none of these shows, so Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Agent Carter, kind of, Daredevil, Luke Cage, Jessica Jones, Iron Fist, the issue with the Inhumans, we'll talk about that towards the end.
Right.
Why these shows never really connected with the movies. And I feel like there's a lot of people that don't understand it. I feel like there's a lot of things that, go over people's heads. I've always wondered that for some people, if they knew or not. But essentially, from my understanding, is the movies are labeled under Marvel Studios.
Yes.
The TV stuff is labeled under Marvel Television.
Right.
And now some of you guys saying, well, isn't that the same thing? No. And to give you an idea, all the Disney Plus shows that are coming out are all they're not under Marvel Television, they're under Marvel Studios. Is that still confusing? I think Joey can probably make it explain a lot better.
Well, if I recall correctly, this has to go back with like the situation with Marvel, like the president Ike Perlmutter, right? He's very sort of a divisive figure over the years. He was like half the reason why they never made a Black Widow movie until what was supposed to be now, but then circumstances have pushed that movie back multiple times. But he was also like he was. I think he was like half the reason. Because I think Iron Man 3 was supposed to have like one of the characters, like the I forget her name, but she was like working with the Mandarin. She was supposed to be like the villain. But Ike Perlmutter was like, when female villains don't sell or whatever, something like that. Right?
Yeah, and he's also the reason why Black Panther couldn't happen.
Yeah. So he's very sort of like he's a bit of a crazy guy. So Kevin Feige understanding this, he's like a bit of a problem because he's the Marvel president. He kind of more or less has a bit of a say in terms of the movies, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
it's all his vision.
Yeah, right. So Kevin Feige, in order to like make sure that the MCU can go without a hitch or whatever, had like meetings with Bob Iger, president of Disney, who owns Marvel. Was like, hey, listen, I need some autonomy here.
Mm-hmm.
And they essentially worked out a deal where basically Kevin Feige could, do all the things he needed to do with the MCU on the film side.
Mm-hmm.
The thing, but as a I guess a concession or whatever, or compromise, is that Perlmutter and Marvel Entertainment which is going to be like the TV side, would handle pretty much everything else, any other stuff that happens, like live action animated stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That's why the Netflix shows and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Are kind of set, or are set in the MCU, but while Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. had a bit more leeway of like, referencing the movies, the Netflix shows only really had the cursory references to the movies.
There was what scene I'm talking about was from Jessica Jones.
Yeah.
Where instead of calling Captain America, you call him the flag waver, the big green guy, the Tin Man.
Yeah, I do feel like there was an episode of Luke Cage where there was a guy that literally says Tony Stark. Yeah.
I mean, I know the character you're talking about. He's also giving out, like, DVDs of, like, the incident.
Yeah, like the 2012, Avengers movie, where the Chitauri attack, like, they always refer to it in the Netflix shows as the incident or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
They never talk about it being aliens, though.
Yeah, they always just say as the incident. It's sort of like the big, like, New York got attacked and the Avengers showed up or whatever to save the day. And yeah, it's just super weird when you contextualize it like that, because none of these characters that show up in the Netflix shows, at least I think the Netflix shows have it way worse than Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. because Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. at least had the connection of being part of S.H.I.E.L.D., thus being affected by whatever events happen in those movies, I think.
But even then, like, it was so, like, felt so last minute.
Yeah, I know there was, like, stuff where, like, Sif, right?
Sif did show up.
Yes, she showed up. I know Nick Fury had cursory, had very...
Like, first episode, last episode of the first season kind of shit.
Yeah, and there's even, I know there's some plot stuff that happens in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. that kind of relates back to the movies, like the helicarrier that shows up at the end of Age of Ultron was apparently acquired in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. or whatever, if I recall correctly.
But no mention of each show.
Yeah, no actual full mention of that.
No.
I will say, I'm
sorry not to stop you there, but like that's one of the things that made me like so turned off by the show. Like, I got back onto it later on. That's because they brought in Robbie Reyes, and Robbie Reyes is one of my favorite characters. But side point, like one of the moments that really made me just go like, I'm not gonna watch this that much anymore, is when it's literally the episode that was set after the Sith episode. Literally, the episode that was set after Thor: The Dark World. They just showed clips from from like what you see from the trailer, and then Coulson's like, "Man, I really wish Thor would come in down and help us out." And I'm just like, "Oh, so this is basically your whole thing, okay? You told it us as a connection between the movies and the television. There is no damn connection. Don't you dare lie to me."
Yeah, I mean, it's a bit odd. There's a lot of weird stuff that happens.
Even the reveal of Hydra being in S.H.I.E.L.D. was outed in the show. And then, I swear, it got resolved in the next episode. Because the movie came out at the time.
Yeah.
So that was one of my big issues with it. Like, really, you didn't need to... There really was no connection to the broader world. But I'll let you continue.
Yeah, I think... Besides Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. having its weird sort of quasi relationship with the movies. The Netflix shows having only references and that's it, like nothing else.
Vague ones.
Yeah, definitely vague ones. Like you would think with at least Tony being at least interested in seeing stuff like Spider-Man and going out to recruit him in Civil War, that with the Netflix shows being around at the time, it would have been at least kind of interesting if you saw him seeing clips of, say, Matt Murdock as Daredevil and various other characters just doing things in New York, right? Obviously, the whole Spider-Man like interacting with said characters of the Netflix shows was probably never going to happen because Sony's had movie rights for Spider-Man, so obviously that's going to be like a weird tangled mess
because
there.
if you know anything from the comics, Daredevil and Spider-Man are really close buds.
Yeah, and they're all the characters in the Netflix shows pretty much work in New York, right? Luke Cage is in Harlem. Daredevil's in
Hell's Kitchen.
Jessica Jones goes around everywhere.
Yeah, she's a PI.
Yeah, and Iron Fist, he just goes around. He's also he moves around, but and yeah, it would have been neat, but obviously because Sony rights and stuff like that, it's that bit is understandable. And I think should we talk about Inhumans?
Yeah, let's go for it.
Yeah, like the Inhumans is definitely one of the weirder ones
because it was initially going to be a film.
Yeah, and you know why it was initially a film?
Because
Ike Perlmutter.
Really? Okay, I didn't know that part.
Yeah, no, it was because if you recall, Eli, this was around the time when Fox still had the rights to the X-Men and Fantastic Four, mainly the X-Men. And I think there was like rumors of like Ike Perlmutter being very upset that they couldn't use those characters in movies, and that's when you see all that stuff about like they wouldn't make any more Fantastic Four comics, like they would limit they would push the Inhumans in larger roles in the comics, right? Because so that way they couldn't Fox couldn't essentially have material from the comics to use because they weren't getting anything from Marvel wasn't getting anything from that movies deals. So for Ike Perlmutter, I think it was trying to push the Inhumans as their X-Men, right? Because they are very they have a bit.
I know this part of the story.
Yeah, they have very similar, like not sets of powers, but ideas, right? Where they're just super powered, like humans.
Superhumans.
Yeah, where the X-Men mutants get their powers from the X gene. The Inhumans become superpowered with the exposure to
Terrigen Mist.
Yeah, Terrigen, which I thought was Targen.
Yeah. You had to play the game. He played the game to find that out.
Yeah, when playing the Avengers game, I literally was like looking at the spelling of Terrigen and I was like, I thought for half a second I thought it was like, is that supposed to be Targaryen? I don't. Targen? I don't.
Jesus Christ. But no. One of the things that really especially going back to Agents of Shield, their introduction of the Inhumans, which came way later, had really nothing to do with what eventually would be the Inhumans TV show.
Man, that must suck, doesn't it? But yeah, no, that was and because Kevin Feige pretty much got creative control for the movies, he was like, yeah, no, we're not doing Inhumans. We're not doing this. So they decided to just push Inhumans onto the Marvel TV side. So because that was their idea to begin with anyway. So that's how the Inhumans became a TV show instead of a movie, and we all know how Inhumans turned out.
Even the whole TV arm was always questionable, especially for on the Netflix area with what's his name? John. No, let's say John. Oh, that's the wrong person.
I think it was something Buck. I could be wrong.
No, Scott Buck was the guy who was in charge, who was the showrunner for both Iron Fist, season 1 of Iron Fist, and Inhumans.
Okay. But yeah,
it was Jeff Loeb. Jeff Loeb was in charge of the TV arm. I mean, he's a well-known comic book writer. He's really good. Under him, it's been very questionable, especially with his turnout. Really, you know, the shows in them themselves are just. It just never really worked with building the universe because they came from two different people. It's like if you and I were to write, where it's like if you had a story for. We were both writing for, say, the same universe, but you did your own thing and I did my own thing, and then never really connected.
Yeah, like, but at this, it's like one of those things where, like, you have two people, very different, I guess, ideas for how the universe should go. Yeah, it's like a good. Yeah, I guess I think a better example would be like if you are working on a class project with somebody, and you're like, okay, you do this half, I'll do this half, and then we'll convene and make it work. And then you go your separate ways. And when you come back, it's like, wait, I was doing this thing, you did that thing. How are we supposed to connect these together? We made a terrible mistake.
You can't fit the square block in the circle, Joey. I told you this 1,000 times.
Square block? I thought we were making a triangle.
God damn it. That's not a triangle, that's a cube.
But yeah, no, it's it's just one of those things when you look at it, right?
Yeah.
Where it's sort of just like, it could have been kind of potentially a pretty solid idea, right? Where you have, especially with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., I feel like there's a lot of potential where you could essentially just be like, use it as hype and building up to, like, the next movies. But I'm assuming it just, like, just different creative stuff going on. So
I mean, we can just talk about each show if you want to. I know you haven't seen all of them. I haven't seen. Well, you haven't finished watching all of them because you're just like, I'm done.
Well, I haven't finished watching the final seasons of all the Netflix shows.
For me, it was just the two final seasons, the final season of Jessica Jones and Punisher. Because like at that point, I'm just like, I'm good.
Right.
But aside from that, I think I was the one that mostly watched Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah, I tried to watch it in the first season, and then I quickly was like, "This is boring as hell. I'm just gonna leave."
Yeah. You are not wrong.
And I think I only tuned back in when the Robbie Reyes stuff was happening because I was like, "Oh, that sounds cool," and I was watching that, and then I eventually sort of dipped out again. I was like, "Well."
By the time Robbie left, right?
Yeah, pretty much. It's like when that plot line ended, I'm like, "Well, I'm gone. I don't want to watch anymore."
No, you. I will say it did get a little. It stayed pretty consistent after that.
I mean,
the life model decoy storyline was actually pretty okay.
Yeah, no, I definitely can understand that. It just,
we forgot to mention Agent Carter, which got canceled.
Yeah, and I remember watching a couple episodes of that, and I thought it was pretty decent.
The first season was pretty good. Second season just kind of dragged.
Yeah, so, it sucks that, that happened, but...
Don't worry, watch it again.
I mean, to be fair, in a way, you can still consider that canon to MCU stuff, I feel like, because, at the end of the day...
well, they only included, like, 2 characters from that show.
Yeah.
Peggy herself and Jarvis.
Yeah, like old school Butler Jarvis.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's.
I mean, like, okay, so going back to Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. before we continue on with Agent Carter, because Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. was the first show. You could tell that it was really rough.
Yeah.
Even I knew it was really rough. Like, they tried really hard, but and for me, like, I feel like the show never really starts off great until towards the end. I feel like towards the end is when it's like, oh, this is actually getting really exciting. But it's still so much drag to get through.
Right.
I don't really care much for the characters. I'm sorry. I know I'm more of the Marvel guy, but I have to be honest with myself.
Right.
I didn't care for much for Daisy. Until like, I don't even care for her that much. Ming-Na Wen's character was pretty okay, but she was kind of like the stoic badass kind of character.
Yeah, but it works for
but
her,
like I said, like later on they started introducing more characters that I really enjoyed, and some characters grew. Like I said this before, for me, Coulson, I forget the science dude's name.
Fitz and Simmons. Right?
Simmons was the chick. Simmons was alright, but Fitz man, he was cool. He was just a lovable scamp.
Yeah.
And he was also smart, and he wasn't afraid to get in a fight, kind of stuff. And they also introduced Mockingbird, which I always thought was weird, and they never really did much with her until later on. And well, Mockingbird's boyfriend was also one of my favorite characters because they were just so chill. Mac was also pretty cool, but you know those characters kind of grew on me.
Right.
But you know their characters couldn't save the show for me at the time until like they started introducing more of like more characters that are like comic actor like Robbie Reyes. I mean they changed up his storyline a bit, but he was pretty legit in my opinion.
Okay.
Yeah, and like really after that, I'll be honest. After that season, I have stopped watching it. I don't know what's going on. All I know is that shit's going down, and we could have had something good, but you know, Robbie did come back for the last episode, which was weird to me.
Yeah,
and they started doing the whole circle thing that you saw from Doctor Strange.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, but no, it's the Robbie Reyes stuff was really good.
Yeah. I assume they did. Like it's ended, right? It had its final season.
I think it's either on its final season or it's done.
Yeah, because I'm assuming the final season has something to do with the events of Infinity War and stuff like that, right?
I think it was a lead up, and then it's like I know apparently from the one trailer I saw, they do time travel, like they go back in the past, and I'm like, all right, cool. I don't really care, but sure. And then his Agent Carter, when that one I really enjoyed. That first season was pretty good. It was very it was very feminist, you know, message. You know, she's the only woman in the work field. She's got to break that glass ceiling, and she proves herself. She ends up being a total badass. I mean, she also still has that sort of bit of you know, like I miss Steve thing. And then second season was pretty, you know, brought us into some interesting stuff that they kept trying to tether in the whole love triangle thing between her as one guy and like the dude who had a leg injury in the World War II. Because they kept you know teasing the well, who did she end up with? But because it got canceled, obviously, you know, just screw it. It was Steve.
But it was only Steve in that one alternate timeline because it doesn't make sense. Whatever.
You know, they're still arguing about how the ending works.
I mean, you know, it's whatever. Wait. What about Cloak and Dagger?
Oh shit! I forgot about Cloak and Dagger. Oh, what about what was it? The Runaways.
That's on Hulu, right?
Yeah, it's on Hulu.
I haven't watched that.
I
don't know because I don't know. I guess like I never really cared that much about the Runaways.
Yeah.
Like I get the idea, right? It's like they're all children of villains or whatever, right? But yeah, I
have to look at the camera because that was like 8 minutes. What? Oh, but it resets every 30 minutes, right?
Yeah.
Okay. We edited that out.
Yeah. But yeah, no. Yeah, there's a Cloak and Dagger one on ABC Family, or I guess what
Freeform now.
Yeah, it's Freeform now. Which
sure.
Yeah, I mean that has 2 seasons, right?
Yeah, it had 2 seasons. Haven't heard much of it though.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna assume it's. I think what they were going with was turning it into like a
team rom-com. Not team. Yeah, it was a team romance thing.
Team romance thing with some superhero stuff going on.
So CW.
Yeah, but probably not as soap opera as CW, right? Because I feel like the Arrowverse can kind of get very daytime soap opera-y, if you catch my drift. I mean, I don't know. You've seen it more than I have.
I've only seen Flash. Because that's the only good one. And
yeah.
even then, there's a point where I'm like, I don't care.
Barry encounters a problem. What is a solution to run really fast?
Barry, you continuously fought a speedster for the past 3 to 4 seasons. Stop.
Well, it's, you know, right? Like, he can have his other villains be like, you know, villains of the day sort of scenario, but only a speedster can possibly be a match for another speedster, right?
Sure. But, no, it's just, again, I haven't watched Runaways. It's an interesting story, but I don't care much, really.
Yeah, so besides those, which I'm pretty sure also don't really tie into the MCU much at all.
Doubt it completely.
Yeah, so yeah, the Marvel TV's definitely started having like a weird trend of stuff over the past couple of years. But now with Disney Plus,
we are forgetting a specific area of Marvel television that started off knocking it out of the park and then did nothing.
Oh, okay.
Netflix.
I mean, yeah, right. Netflix. I mean, yeah, the Netflix shows. Well, yeah. They're having.
They started high up in the mountain, and they started trickling down.
Yeah. Daredevil was definitely first season was definitely like.
Holy shit!
Spectacular.
Oh my god!
I remember like everyone was like, "Holy shit, this is amazing," kind of thing, right?
It was just a little long.
Yeah, I think that's one of the big things with the Netflix shows is that they all have like
13 episodes.
13 episodes a season, and for a lot of people, and I think like they have some weird pacing issues, definitely towards like the second half because it definitely seems like we are about to reach the climax, but then we have some weird like off tangent related stuff usually happen in some of these seasons. So that way we can fill up and have the 13 episodes. And I think like a lot of people were like, we should probably cut these down, right?
No, we didn't. We're going to need those 13 episodes.
Yeah, I'm guessing in order to be like...
And you know who suffered that the most? Iron Fist. Think about it. It was just the same story on repeat.
Yeah, it's always Danny Rand, right? Just doing some stuff.
Yep, there was really no progression in that story at all.
I mean, second season's supposed to be at least slightly better.
It is like they gave it a 50% on Rotten Tomato compared to like the 10% that was in the first season.
I don't know. I didn't think Iron Fist was the first season was that bad. I mean, it's bad, but like,
it's watchable.
Yeah. Luke Cage is,
that was great.
Yeah. So Daredevil season 1, pretty much the best. Jessica Jones was pretty solid.
It was a great season. It just, holy shit.
Yeah.
That thing took a while. I remember people telling me like, I can't do Jessica Jones. That's kind of like, that's just such a downer.
Yeah, I get that.
And for the context, it makes sense.
Yeah, and then we had Luke Cage,
which started off pretty good. Then it started.
Yeah, it was a bit rocky towards the end, but it was all right. All things considered.
Punisher season 1.
Yeah, Iron Fist obviously was not great. Punisher season 1, definitely. Well, I mean, Daredevil season 2 was first.
Well, the order was season 1 Daredevil, season 1 Jessica Jones, season 2 Daredevil, Luke Cage, Iron Fist.
Right.
Then Defenders.
Yeah, and then after that, we had Punisher show up, and then season 2 of all the other Netflix shows, right? Before they got canned. Well, and then season 3 of Daredevil to wrap it up, which is like the only one I think.
Season 3, then it was season 3 of Jessica Jones, and season 2 of Punisher, and that was it. Yeah,
and I'm pretty sure Daredevil is probably the only Netflix show that has like a satisfying like end.
It is. As someone, I know I'm Michelle because I love Daredevil. That third season was just godly. I know, it's a little cheesy, but
I mean, yeah, but I guess that more or less just said.
I mean, I can talk more about the shows because I've seen them more than you have.
Right.
I mean, second season of Daredevil, I think we both agree, started off pretty good, but then we start talking about the hand and just they didn't really know what to do with the hand.
I feel like they should have just made them the foot hand.
I'm gonna slap you so hard right now.
You have the hand, the foot. We just need the shoulders and the knees.
We already had the dragons called it's in DC.
I'm just saying, like, then we would have the head. Oh wait, fuck! I forgot hand. I was gonna make
shoulders and tail, bitch.
Yeah, I was gonna do something like that, but the hands weren't part of the song.
Your little joke has fallen down.
Yeah, now thinking about it. Point is, the Shredder should be part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
I mean, they based a lot of stuff from Daredevil.
I know. I'm just saying.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles was based a lot off of Daredevil.
I know. I'm just saying. The Shredder should have been in the
sure, whatever.
The Shredder should have been the main bad guy of the Defenders, obviously.
Yeah.
And then he'd be like, "Gosh, you turtles!" And it's like, reason. Yeah, it's like,
what?
What are you talking about?
Shit. Mikey would be then Iron Fist because he would be even in the comics, kind of when Luke Cage and Iron Fist are together, he's kind of like the little brother.
And then Luke Cage would be Raphael.
No, Daredevil would be Raphael.
Oh,
remember he's the moody one.
But who? I'm guessing would Jessica Jones be Leonardo, or would she be Donatello?
She'd be Donatello.
Okay. And then Luke Cage is
because they have a thing with purple.
Fair enough, but Donatello, Leonardo's blue, and there's no blue on the team.
We can give it to Luke.
I know. I'm just saying.
He seems the most level-headed one to be the leader.
Yeah, fair enough. Reasonable. Yeah. But yeah, But anyways, yeah, no.
But it's in Jessica Jones, season 1 was great. Season 2 was questionable at best.
Interesting.
Yeah. I haven't seen season 3 because season 2 was like, yeah, I think I'm good.
Right.
And then it was Luke Cage. Season 1 was sort of great, a little rocky towards the end. Season 2 was a lot better. They had some good stuff going, but then left us a cliffhanger, and then I was like, oh man, I wish we could go on.
And yeah, we'll never see that show come again.
Well, apparently he has a cameo in season 3 of Jessica Jones. Also, by the way, there was also an episode entirely dedicated to the Heroes for Hire thing, where Danny Rand came in and helped out Luke Cage, and that was probably the best time you see Danny Rand. Right. It's probably the best,
right?
Because they're just being bros.
Yeah.
And then we already said Iron Fist season 1 was pretty.
Yeah, no bueno.
No bueno. Season 2 was slightly better.
Okay.
We were getting there. We were doing something, and I was like, "Oh shit! You have the makings for season 3 to be actually really good." And then it was canceled. We can talk about that in a minute too.
Yeah.
And of course, Punisher season 1 was great. I was like, I don't know if I need a season 2 though.
Yeah, I was kind of the same. Like, I was like, season 2, really? Like this soon? I mean, I guess, but like, I really just.
And
like
Defenders was kind of lackluster.
Yeah, especially considering that the Hand was still the main bad guys. Like,
and they haven't done really. They weren't that great in.
Yeah, they weren't that great in Daredevil. So
and knowing that they came right after Iron Fist,
yeah,
it was like.
Yeah, it's just the whole thing. Like, I get the idea of having the Hand be sort of, a big encompassing villain.
I agree, and don't get me wrong. I agree with that. Some people said that it should have been Kingpin, but when you have 2 superpowers going, like 3 people that have superpowers going up against Kingpin, it's like, what's the point?
Yeah, and so maybe an immortal death ninja cult. Yeah, I guess I can kind of understand that.
Season 3 Daredevil was the last one I saw, and I was like, I'm good. This is amazing. I am perfect. And that's sort of the whole Marvel like Netflix line, which I think was pretty good.
Yeah,
like it has the making of being. Iron Fist had the making of being good. And just you had a very shitty person in charge of it. The fact that the second showrunner came in and at least made it watchable and salvageable and enough for at least a meh kind of reaction led you to think maybe they could probably make this work.
Yeah. At the end of the day, the whole thing with the Netflix shows is kind of sad because I think Daredevil was definitely the best of them, and I think all of them could have reached like that potential high point, especially on Netflix. But I'm pretty sure it was like basically the big reasons why those shows were canceled because of Disney Plus. Ironically enough, right?
Yeah, because they were starting to do those streaming service. A lot of people think it's bad. That's why they canceled it. No, for whatever reason, Netflix has this weird thing about canceling good shows. They're like not saying like they always cancel good shows, but they sometimes even cancel. They just cancel bad shows, but sometimes they even cancel good shows too. Like they recently just canceled the Jim Henson show. The Dark Crystal.
Yeah.
And I loved that show. That show was amazing.
Yeah, I think like that was super weird, right? Because I was fully expecting the season 2 because it leaves on the cliffhanger. Granted, it's a prequel to like the Dark Crystal movie, so it's fine to leave it on that sort of cliffhanger because.
But it left you in a cliffhanger. That I'm like, okay, I want to see how this goes. I know how it ends, but I still want to see how this goes.
Yeah, so super interesting.
So from my understanding with the whole Netflix thing is that there's like 3 categories. I don't remember most of them. I'm probably confusing them all together. But essentially, if it doesn't get enough attention by the first few weeks, it doesn't get like enough views by the first few weeks, then like basically if it doesn't reach a certain number by the first few weeks of release, they don't see it as interest. It doesn't matter if it's good or not. That's why you know season 1 of Daredevil and season 1 of Jessica Jones were so like, oh my god, because they were the starting ones.
Yeah, I can definitely. Yeah, I think that makes sense. But yeah, I think I'm pretty sure it also just has to do with the fact that Disney.
Oh, and also if they're too expensive to make.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that makes sense, right? I feel like the Dark Crystal, Age of Resistance, right?
Yeah, it was Age of Resistance.
I mean, with all those sort of puppetry and stuff like that, and like having to build the sets and stuff like that, I could imagine that getting a pretty big budget and being like, we don't see returns. We're gonna have to cancel it.
That's why Stranger Things is still going on because that always has tremendous returns.
Yeah, and I imagine the budget isn't exactly like not. It's probably big, but not like super big, right?
Yeah. I mean, most of it goes to the monsters, and that's it.
Yeah. But yeah, no. But I think again, I think the biggest thing that led to the cancellation of all those Netflix Marvel shows was Disney announcing, "Hey, we're having our own streaming service." I mean, Disney started pulling all their animated shows and movies that were on Netflix, and I think Netflix's response was like, "Oh, I see. You want to play the game of streaming wars? That's fine by us. Goodbye to all these Netflix shows."
No.
You know, it's it's a sad casualty. It's kind of reminds me of what happened when Disney bought Marvel and Just Protect Your Spider-Man TV show was animated by, I don't remember.
It was animated by at least a Sony company, I think.
I think it was animated by a Sony animation company or whatever. But because they essentially Disney bought those rights for the characters, and I think Sony only owned the movie rights and not necessarily the TV rights. They could just they essentially had Tiger Spider-Man canceled and then replaced with Ultimate Spider-Man, which was
it had its moments.
Yeah, all I remember is that it was Drake Bell as Spider-Man,
which wasn't that bad of an idea.
Not bad. I mean, he has superhero experience.
He was Superfly.
Yeah. Yeah, the superhero movie. It was a parody of all the superhero movies that came out.
Specifically Spider-Man.
Yeah.
But I mean the good thing about Disney Plus, we haven't seen anything yet. All we know is that the first few ones are going to be The Winter Soldier, Loki, WandaVision, and What If. And these are going to be more tied into the events that happen in the movies and the stuff that will eventually happen later on in the movies.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, that's sort of the neat thing about the Disney Plus shows is that they will have direct ties to the movies. They're putting spotlight on characters that
most people probably don't know.
Yeah, probably most people that don't know, or characters that may not have necessarily been able to carry a film on their own or whatever, right?
like Miss Marvel and She-Hulk, Moon Knight. Blade's a movie, isn't it?
Yeah, Blade is a movie.
Okay, and those kind of stuff. Winter Soldier, Falcon, WandaVision.
Yeah,
Every time I say it together, it sounds like I'm saying the show.
yeah, it's. I mean, at least from what we've seen from WandaVision, it looks super weird, right? Like,
Yeah, it's. I think that's the one thing I'm wondering about it and wondering how it's going to turn out. Especially since we were talking about Moon Knight earlier, they seem to be more experimental.
yeah, I think these shows will sort of be we'll be going for that more weirder stuff.
Mm.
Granted, the movies do get into the weird stuff. I mean, Guardians of the Galaxy, right? It's super weird.
Doctor Strange.
Thor Ragnarok is definitely a bit of a bizarre thing as well. So, yeah, I think.
Like I don't think they're gonna go full on adult level stuff like say that Netflix was, but they're gonna do some like really weird out there, stuff, comic book stuff.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Yeah. But yeah, that's a lot of Disney Plus stuff that we're hoping that hopefully I think WandaVision comes out November, right?
November, December. I think it got pushed back because of serious situations.
Ah, okay.
But we'll see. And I think that's about it.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's all the Marvel TV shows that we.
Yeah, current Marvel TV. We'll say.
Yeah,
I'll say that.
current Marvel TV.
So we'll see. Again, we'll see how that turns out. But it's been this is a very interesting conversation. I think I always like talking about this stuff. Now, obviously, you guys, you can catch us on any of our socials, which is Twitter, Facebook, and social. Twitter, Facebook, and I was say social studies. Help was with me. I don't know. My brain would be going fart. My brain be farting now. But Twitter. You can find us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. If you go on Instagram, which is our one way we mostly go on to, you'll be find our link tree where you can find us and all of our kind of podcasting sites such as Castbox, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Pandora, all that good stuff. But also you'll find us on our YouTube page, YouTube/Geek Centurions, where you can see our beautiful mugs most of the time. And I mean, there was like 2 episodes that we forgot to record, or recording got a little messy.
Yeah, at least this episode.
It looks like we got it.
Yeah, I mean, as well as the fact that I have shaved my hair.
Sure. I need to do the same. But anyways, one thing, so once you're on YouTube, you can comment, like, subscribe, hit the bell icon. Tell us how we're doing. If you have any questions for any topics for us to talk about, happily to have them. Because sometimes we tend to run out of ideas. Or we don't know when the right time would be to talk about those ideas. But anyways, that's always good for us to know. It shows, it's a great way to see how we're doing in each side. Hit us, whether you comment on any of the podcast sites or any of or YouTube, that lets us know that we're at least doing something right, or at least, we need to work on something. And if you want to support us in any way, we do have a Patreon where you can see all the stuff that you can do to help us out, whether it be from $1 to $5 or whatever. I don't totally understand how, considering some stuff going on. We might not be able to do that, but that's fine. Don't worry about it. We get it. And yeah, that's about it. So thank you guys. Hopefully we'll be able to talk about more about Marvel. We might have some stuff happening for Mandalorian. I don't know.
Yeah.
Because that's coming out soon.
Yeah, real soon, right?
Real soon. That's a birthday gift for you.
Well, that dates this, certainly.
Is it?
No, I mean, it just dates the recording, right?
Yeah, you can just do that.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah. But, it's coming out soon. We might do something about that. We'll see. But, yeah. Thank you, guys. This has been your good old pals.
Name's Joe.
And it's your boy Eli. And we are the Geek Centurions. Thank you for taking the chance to listen to us. Hope you guys have a good one. Peace.